This video explores a common everyday thinking habit and is intended for educational purposes. It does not address clinical or medical conditions. If you speak to yourself when no one else is around, it may simply reflect how your mind prefers to process information. You're not unusual. You're not losing control. And you're not disconnected from reality. For many people, speaking out loud is a practical cognitive tool. It helps organize thoughts, sharpen attention, clarify decisions, and bring structure to complex situations. Most of us don't think in perfect silence. We break ideas down, test possibilities, rehearse plans, anticipate outcomes, and adjust our reasoning as we go. Sometimes a thought feels too layered or abstract to stay internal. Saying it out loud gives it form and sequence. For many, this is completely normal and often useful. Some minds prefer clarity, order, and precision. When ideas feel scattered, language creates structure. Words turn impressions into defined statements. They reduce ambiguity and make it easier to evaluate what makes sense. You're not speaking because you're confused. You're speaking because you're organizing information in real time. Have you noticed how a problem becomes clearer once you explain it, even when no one is there to respond? Putting thoughts into words can engage additional reasoning processes. It shifts thinking from loose internal patterns into structured language. That shift often improves sequencing, evaluation, and decision-making. In simple terms, speaking can convert mental clutter into workable clarity. Self-talk is also closely connected to attention. When you're searching for something, solving a problem, or concentrating on a task, you might repeat a key word or outline your next step aloud. From the outside, that may look unusual. Internally, it can be highly efficient. Language helps direct focus. If you say keys, wallet, or phone out loud, your attention often narrows. Irrelevant details fade into the background. Your perception becomes more goal-oriented. Your voice functions like a spotlight, highlighting what matters and filtering out distractions. Instead of passively scanning your environment, you give your mind a clear instruction. You define the objective. You create direction. That's why speaking can feel stabilizing under pressure. It narrows the task. It restores order. It reduces overload. There is also an emotional dimension to this habit. You may have caught yourself saying, "It's okay. Take a breath. Focus. You've got this." Using language in this way can create a small but meaningful distance between you and a strong reaction. That distance often allows for a more measured response instead of an automatic one. You guide yourself through the moment. This isn't avoidance. It's active engagement with your own experience. Speaking can also support memory and learning. When you say instructions, plans, or summaries aloud, you signal importance. Spoken information often receives deeper processing than silent thoughts. It becomes more distinct and easier to retrieve later. That's why you might repeat directions, rehearse steps, or summarize what just happened. You're not simply thinking, you're reinforcing. For some people, understanding doesn't fully solidify until it's spoken. Talking doesn't only express a thought. Sometimes it helps complete it. You say the idea. You hear it clearly. Then you refine it. That reflects flexibility. You're willing to examine your reasoning in real time instead of holding on to the first explanation that appears. You adjust, update, and improve as new information becomes available. Some people process best in quiet abstraction. Others process best through language. If you're in the second group, clarity often arrives after you speak, not before. Talking doesn't always follow understanding. Sometimes it produces it. This pattern can also reflect independence in thinking. People who use self-talk often consult their own reasoning first. They weigh options internally before seeking outside input. They examine different angles, question assumptions, and work through complexity using language as a tool. Under stress, this becomes even more visible. While some people feel scattered, you may begin breaking a situation into smaller steps. Naming what matters reduces complexity. Outlining actions restores structure. Speaking transforms uncertainty into sequence. Your voice becomes a stabilizing tool. Even when your inner tone is firm, it usually reflects involvement. It means you are engaged in improving, correcting, or staying aligned with your goals. In everyday situations, self-talk is not a sign that something is wrong. It can be a sign that you are actively engaging with your thoughts, organizing them, directing attention, reinforcing memory, evaluating choices, and guiding your next move. So, if you notice yourself speaking out loud, there is no need for embarrassment. It may simply mean your mind uses language as a practical instrument for clarity and focus. And once you understand that, the habit that once felt unusual can start to feel natural, even reassuring. If putting thoughts into words helps you see them more clearly, subscribe and continue turning complexity into clarity with us.